But why aren't we pounding away on our congressmen and our senators and whatnot, and locally even?
Well, locally is the key. That's the thing. Locally is the key. Why aren't we pounding away? Why aren't more people joining Campaign for Liberty?
Right. I mean, this should be, now that we're at this point, right, where we've got a rogue, Congress and Senate, I mean, we should be just hammering away on this. And if more than 50% of the people know about it and have a problem with it, it's time to really get a push. I mean, maybe we should have tea parties,
The problem is that Fox will just co-opt them like they did this year. That's the problem. Listen, we had enough people. I'm serious. We had enough people this year to be pissed off about the Federal Reserve. There would have been record numbers at the tea parties anyway. What does Fox do? They usurp them. They praise Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck, right? And the Federal Reserve all of a sudden gets more power than ever 2 months later. Think about how sick and twisted that is. Remember, February the tea parties come. 2 months later, the Federal Reserve is granted carte blanche powers where they will now have more oversight than the SEC. The criminals who brought us here now have power of the oversight, and it's a sick joke with these people that they were able to say, look at how many people are standing up against the Federal Reserve. Look at how many people are standing up against taxes. They just passed a bill that we will be taxed for everything, and the Federal Reserve will regulate it because they are our new lords. That's the sick joke. So people did get upset, but they don't know how to get upset. They don't understand that they actually have to take the power into their own hands. Everybody's expecting somebody else to do it for them. That ain't how it works. You've got to run for city council. You've got to run for state senate. You've got to run for Congress. That's the bottom line. And, I feel guilty even saying that because we had Cindy Sheehan in here, and she talks about how elections are rigged. You're damn right they're rigged, especially when you have Diebold and these other corporate entities running the elections. And we've been trying to expose that since 2000. I mean, since 2000. We are in it's 1984. 1984 is 2009, and it is only going to get worse. I thank you for the call, Ruben. I think I got another Ruben on the line. We'll find out. Ruben in Washington? Yes?
Yes.
All right, back-to-back Rubens. What's up, man?
Hey, it's funny that you should mention that the election thing, because that's actually what I was going to talk about. Because these globalists they've been working at this for what, a couple hundred years or something like that.
Yes.
And we can beat them in like 3. The state legislatures cycle every 2 years, and we've probably got enough people woken up and like aware of this, enough patriots out there to where if we all just stop talking about it and start moving in, running for state legislatures and getting into the city councils and doing what the globalists have been doing, getting and infesting our government, and we go in and take it back. On a local level, I think 34 states can abolish the federal government?
Yes, well, there are some provisions out there that they can't abolish the federal government. They can just declare their sovereignty and go by their state constitution instead.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But right then and there, you're basically telling the government that you're not going to go along with all right, hold on. Let's
look at this Governor Sanford situation. This guy disappears. I say obviously he's a liar. He's not at the Appalachian Trail Mountains. Now, did they go after this guy because he wanted to do something similar? He didn't necessarily want to declare state sovereignty, but he was one of their boys. He's going to the Bilderberg meeting. He's one of their little elite buddies that usually goes along with the agenda. And then the bailout comes around, and he doesn't want to go with the bailout agenda. He wants to refuse the stimulus money. They won't allow him to refuse the stimulus money. Then he wants to, instead of take the stimulus money and spend it on what they say, he says he wants to take the stimulus money and pay down the state debt that he owes, and they won't allow him to do that either. So did they burn him because of that? I mean, that's a possibility. So as soon as you don't go along with the program stateside, it seems like you're gunned after as well. And Rick Perry talking about sovereignty, this guy is a Bilderberg boy from the... I mean, seriously, man.
No,
Rick Perry,
right. You're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? Rick Perry is one of these guys that they would love to prop up to run in 2012 against Barack Obama. He's a face that they could use. And if not 2012, maybe 2016 or 2020. He is a House politician with a devil's charm and smile, my friend. And listen, Rome wasn't built in a day. If we could get rid of this system in 10, 15, 20 years, I'd be happy. I'd be able to... I would be willing to work my hardest day in and day out until that day came, if it was that far down the line. But again, we have to be focused. we have to realize, again, we can't change everything in a day, and I think 3 years might even be a little too optimistic. That doesn't mean I don't have hope. We'll be back after this. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Burns, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.
Finally in the news this evening, it's being reported that cyber spies from Russia and China have now penetrated our power grid. Even as energy experts are reporting that each summer we get closer and closer to the limits of our nation's power grid, some say that this summer's demand for electrical power may finally push the grid over its edge, creating a cascade of power outages across the country, putting us all in the dark.
Are you prepared for the next round of storm-related outages or government-created blackouts? Have you ever thought about taking steps to get off the grid and generate your own private supply of electrical power? If so, this will be the most important information you have ever heard. Solar-powered generators are finally available. They have no moving parts to wear out or break and require absolutely no gas whatsoever. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Check out mysolarbackup.com before you lose your power.
And remember, they're about to go to Copenhagen in December, worldwide, have another one of these conferences, and again, further legitimize international regulation of human beings, or carbon, or whatever they want to call it. It's a slave grid, folks. That's what it is. Deborah in Michigan. Deborah, you're on the line.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
No, you're not having a good night. I knew exactly what I was going to say when I called, but I've been listening to the conversation. I am literally... This just scares the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
What is the end goal to all this?
The end game. Have you seen Endgame? Alex Jones' Endgame yet?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's it. Listen, they really do want to have control over every single facet of your life. They really want to chip in you. I know this sucks. I don't want a chip in me. They already have human beings with microchips in them. They're going to try to make it trendy and fashionable first, and they have tried to market it that way, and some people have fallen for it. But they want to chip in you. They want a cashless society control grid. So in other words, just a credit system where you have certain amounts of credits. It's a wipe. You do everything through your cell phone or your personal computer. Money is completely eliminated. You're GPSed all the time. There's cameras in your homes. Again, they're prepping you with that with the Xbox 360 Project Natal, where you have a literal biometric camera in your living room, and they'll be in millions of living rooms this Christmas. I guarantee that. That has voice recognition, facial recognition, motion sensors, and it's hooked up to the internet 24/7. They want to regulate.
What's the point to all this? This is what I don't understand.
You're a slave, and they live forever. They know that they can't cap technology forever. They see the progression of technology. You know, I was over on a service call earlier in the day. I do a little IT work on the side. And I was talking to an older lady. She was about probably like 80, 85 years old. And she mentioned, she said, you know, life didn't change that much from my mother's age into, you know, when she passed away. She's like, well, what we saw was she saw maybe the change between carriages to automobiles and saw the building of buildings. I've seen, she's like, I saw the point where we had cars that were going, you know, 15, 20 miles an hour to sports cars everywhere, skyscrapers, planes everywhere. She's like, to the iPhone. We were even talking about the iPhone today. She's like, computers. I remember in 1976 when we had a word, you know, basically a glorified word processor. So these elites honestly do believe they can live forever. They really do believe that. And life extension technology that they have suggests that is a possibility. I don't know whether it's a probability or a definitive, but they believe it. People, listen, you want to know what their plan is for them? Read Kurzweil. Kurzweil literally talks about how their ultimate goal will be able to take any kind of shape or form they want and travel the cosmos and live forever like gods.
Are they insane? That's insane.
Yes, they are insane. Have you noticed? They worship an owl god in the middle of the woods in California during the summer. Yes, they are certifiably insane. Okay, the bourgeois in Rome, okay, the rulers in Rome used to rape little boys as a delicatessen. And guess what? That practice still goes on today through the power elite. Yes, they are insane. Anybody that could take pleasure in the rape of a little boy, you bet they're insane. They are nuts.
I'm going to throw this out there because, a lot of people don't really get what rape is. I was raped.
Okay.
And I was raped in a way that men would rape little boys. Mm-hmm. You feel like you're going to die.
Mm-hmm. No, it's absolutely terrifying.
It's that bad. That's how sickening it is.
Yeah. And that's why I combat these people, because you know what? It sounds, one world, everybody having equality. That sounds great in theory. Oh, we're all going to sing and dance and hug together. That's not what these people want with a one world government. They want a one world government of tyranny where they rise above us as our lords. I thank you for the call, Deborah. We're going to go to more calls on the other side. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Burmis.